Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. I'm Nancy Quinn. I am here with my associate coach, Lesley Myrick. We are here to talk about being a profitable interior designer. We do this every Thursday. We source questions from the Interior Design Business Forum Facebook group, which is my group. I think it's been around 8 years and it's almost 10,000 interior designers. So if you're watching from a different platform and you're not in there and you are in the industry, please go and join the Interior Design Business Forum. And if you have a question for us, there's a pinned post where you can submit a question for these broadcasts. We can answer your real questions. So Good morning, Lesley.
Good morning.
It's been a good morning so far, huh?
It's been a morning so far. We are here. We are good. I love talking business and helping designers through their struggles because the thing that it's weird. Times are weird right now, Nancy.
Well, the struggle is real, is the bottom line.
The struggle is real, and we need to be there for each other. And I'm grateful that we can answer real questions from people and support them and hopefully make those little 1% improvements that help their business keep going in the right direction.
Yes. And I actually love that. Someone said that yesterday. 1% improvement as you go along adds up to a large percentage over a year's time, right? So, all right. So let's get to today's question. Who is it from? And we've changed the name just so everybody knows.
Today's question is from Joni. She's asking, when you run your in-person consultation, do you go over your fees and then say you'll come back with a formal customized proposal for them?
So you try not to is really right. No, we don't want you going over all your fees. I literally have seen this so many times and then heard about it through people who coach with me. Well, I brought, my welcome packet, and my welcome packet has all my different service models. And the client asked me every single service model, what would be my fees? And they get into it. And I'm like, no.
Or they ask for your hourly rate and you say, well, we do a custom proposal, but my hourly rate is X. And then it completely commodifies you and devalues you because they don't even know what that means or what it entails and how skilled you are. So estimating, I have learned the hard way, Nancy. I'm sure you know, estimating live in front of a client, your numbers is a dangerous game. Doesn't matter how many times you say estimate, guess, whatever, they're going to hold you to that number. That number is going to be in their head for the whole project. And they're going to remember that you said X. And then when you charged Y, they lose a little bit of trust in you.
Yeah. And they don't get it. They're like, well, why is this so much? I thought you were getting this hourly and this seems much higher. And is it really going to take you that many hours to do this? And then it just opens up a can of worms. The minute you open up your business model,
I thought you were going to say big mouth.
Well, that too. The minute you open up your business model to your clients, they consider themselves auditors and they start telling you what you should be doing, how you should be doing it, why you shouldn't be doing it that way, how another designer did it differently years ago, right? So we try not to burden our clients with our business models. We try to just say, based on what I've seen, I have the perfect business model for you. And I will go back to my office, put together a proposal, and we will go over it in person or over Zoom or Google Meet or however you want to go live with somebody and go over the proposal together. And that's where you have the ability to show, especially the proposals that we recommend that come with the key. It explains what happens in that stage. That helps the client understand why you're charging what you're charging, right? So no is the answer. I don't want you telling and estimating right on the spot. I think there was a time with certain service models you can, but let's just talk here for this live full service design. Right? You're in charge of full service design. To quote on the spot could be a really bad move for you. So the answer is, should you do that? No, you should not do that. Don't estimate your fees on the spot. Some of the ways around that, I would give one great tip. If you have past jobs on your website, and you want to have a piece of paper in your briefcase, bag, whatever you're using, that has a list of what the total cost for the client was on that completed job. And I mean, all in. This kitchen cost that client back in 1999, right? Like, make sure you know the date. Make sure you know how much it cost in total. If you're going to say, I cannot quote live right here because your sentence, right? Experience has shown me, right, that this is, I will never quote perfectly on the spot. I need to go back to my office, work it out. But I can give you an idea of what some things have cost from the past if you'd
that.
like. Right. And honestly, I may not even say that unless they ask, like, well, what do other jobs cost? You must know what other jobs have cost. Like if they're getting testy with you, then you can say, let's go to my website and I'll give you an idea of what some of these people full all in has been. But if you're working with Lesley and I, and we've upped your rate, you have to be careful because you may want to say this was 5 years ago. Back then, my business model was different. I did not charge the way I charge today, but I just wanted to give you an idea, right? So that's the only way I would approve of you saying a large dollar amount in a consult. Does that make sense?
That does make sense if someone's wondering about fees. If someone, and I want to sort of, this is maybe a bit of a sidebar, but if people are wondering about just the furnishings and decor investment estimate, that I feel a little bit better about presenting a range, meaning most of our living room projects are between, let's say, 45 and 65,000. So then someone knows they're not looking at $10,000 for a living room. It's not giving them an exact number, but it's educating them like, what planet are we on here? Are we even like in the same solar system? So that I like to do, but when it comes to fees, I have learned to shut my mouth. And I like your all-in number idea, Nancy, looking at recent projects. What was the all-in number? Furnishings, decor, freight, tax, design fees, contractors, everything. And then saying
project management fees, everything.
Yeah. So, the Smith kitchen project that you saw on our website, that all-in was about $275. Okay. And then they're like, all right, we see where this might land. But other than that, don't estimate their project. I've done it. It's bad.
Don't ever project their contractor fees unless you are a contractor, because that is definitely one that gets so many designers in bad situations. Right. And that's even, again, if you're showing someone a kitchen and you say all in, this kitchen costs the client $200,000, that included the contractor. The contractor fees have changed over the years. So we won't know that piece until we get a estimate from a contractor. Right. So just be careful how much you say. You also can overwhelm somebody very easily and shut them down. So it's a real slow feed when you're talking money. You want to talk money, as you say very well, early and often, but you also don't want to overwhelm them and give them too much information, because you're trying to get all your information out to make sure they're the right client and they're going to go with me and they're not going to cancel on me. I got to tell them this and that. We want to say too much because of past client problems, but there's a way of slow feeding the process to keep the client in the moment and make sure you're not quoting in advance something that's not going to be accurate, right? And then the last tip is always present your proposals in person, which I mentioned in the beginning, or over Zoom, and do not email it way in advance. We recommend emailing it right before, sharing your screen if you're doing it via Zoom, or going in person with an extra copy, going it over with them so you can see their reaction, right? We talk about body language all the time, looking and scanning your client to make sure they're understanding and that they don't have any questions, so that you can keep pursuing, giving them what they need to make the sale, right? So I like the way you go over your proposals with your clients. Why don't you just give a little overview, like the excitement that you try to.
Yeah, well, I actually don't send mine in advance. I don't want them to have preconceived notions and have a thought in their head already that it's too expensive, and they go in with guard up, because part of the presenting in person means, like you said, Nancy, you can read their body language, you can see their physical reaction, you can see their excitement or lack thereof, and you can help work through any objections, questions, concerns they may have. So with the proposal, I do always, I want to come in excited, not like goofy cheerleader excited, but just like, I cannot wait to share this with you. Let's go over this phase by phase. Here's this phase and what we're going to do. Here's the investment.
Timeline, if necessary, is in there as well.
Yeah. And timeline, estimated furniture and decor. But the idea is to not ramble, because we often do that, and just say the numbers and shut up. Like you always, I love that. Say the number and shut up, because we often, I know it's expensive, but blah, blah, blah. Like, no, just say the numbers, give it a second to pause, keep going through the proposal. I'm sorry. And then when I've already given them all the numbers, that's when I stop and I try to lighten it a bit because I get it. Like I have just overwhelmed them. And I said, listen, I know I have just sprayed you with a fire hose worth of information.
Yes.
Do you have any questions at this point? I know, and just again, stop and let them react to that. They might be like, no, that all sounds good. Or they might say like, oh my God, that's way more than we thought. Like we've got to think about this. And that's when you can read their responses, help them process it, figure out what the next steps are. But I think it's important, be enthusiastic, be clear, don't overspeak, say the numbers and shut up, and then give them a chance to respond.
Yes, and a sentence I use all the time, and people who follow me know this. I always say, "How does that sound?" Right? It's right. It's a non-aggressive way to say, "Did you understand everything? Like, do you have any questions?" How does that sound? Is a question that I'm asking the person I'm presenting to, and I give them the opportunity. Well, it sounds a little high to me, to tell you the truth, or it sounds great, or it seems like we forgot. I want to add something or take something away. This is your ability to make sure you are on the same page as your client with deliverables, pricing, and timing. If you are, then you go to contract. So this is a little different than some coaches are teaching, and something I've changed over the years, right? I think we changed it last year. Present your proposal first, get the sign off on the deliverables, the price, and the timeline. Once they say, this looks great, I'm ready to go, then go do your contract. Because if they don't like what they see in the proposal, the contract you prepared at the same time as the proposal now has to be changed, and you have to go home and change it anyway.
Yeah, I don't even do my contract until they've approved the proposal. Exactly. Proposal is kind of the working document. That's a beautiful presentation. It's everything they need to know, but it's in a format that isn't going to make their eyeballs roll back in their head like a contract is.
Yeah, contracts can be very intimidating, which is why we work so hard with David Adler, the attorney who helped us formulate our contracts, to make sure you weren't in the sessions with me and David. You were in the sessions with me when we were redoing the contracts. But I was like, David, can we put this in English? Can we put this in better English? And then when we sell the contracts, there's a video for every single contract with David and I explaining every paragraph. So when your client says, what does that paragraph mean? You'll actually know. And we have reduced the contracts to the bare minimum that protects the designer and the client, right? So I've heard people go, I've got 15-page contract. And I'm like, okay, something's wrong if you have a 15-page contract in my eyes. You're covering way too much because of maybe past client issues. Fear. Thank you. Yes. So our contracts match our service models that we teach, and full service design is in there. If you don't have a good contract that's protecting you, please go take a look at our contracts. They're great. They're protective. And we redid them after COVID and added some more, what are they called? More paragraphs
more clauses
more stipulations.
Yeah. We know that prices are a little uncertain right now. So we made sure to have language to help with that.
Yes, absolutely. So, all right. So the answer is, should I give my design fees up front? No. And we went through everything that you should do, right? Including give them a range if needed, possibly know what the different jobs that were completed from your website in your back pocket. So you know if they ask you or you want to use them as reference. Always present your proposals in person or over Zoom. And did I miss any?
And have a matching contract that lines up with your proposal.
Okay, so tell everyone how they can get a contract if they do not have a contract that's working for them.
Oh boy, you're going to like this. So we have incredible contract templates. We sell them individually for different design services, full service, design only, designer for a day. And we can bundle them and save money. And then if you get the bundle, you can get $100 off the key, which is the designer's ultimate pricing tool. All of these work together, the key, the contracts. This is really everything you need to get very clear on your keys, all your pricing, and how it is presented to the client. So if these are gaps in your business, please go check them out at Nancy's website, because contracts are expensive when you go directly to an attorney, and we've done that work for you, and we've been able to make them a very, very reasonable investment for the value they bring.
Yeah, for any designer who's like, I don't know if I'm pricing myself right. I'm always intimidated by pricing. I wonder what other people are doing. The key answers all those questions, right? Because we do a 1-hour training video on pricing and how you should be pricing. We give you the spreadsheet so you can start calculating your own pricing. We also give you a GPT, which I have programmed to be my pricing, the key GPT, where once you learn how we're telling you to price or recommending that you price, you can literally just talk into the GPT or type into it. And it literally takes you, what, 7 minutes to price a job?
Yeah. And then just prepare the proposal. But it's, I mean, this is going from hours and hours of work down to easily under an hour, if not less.
Exactly. Right. And then we give you the proposal templates. And is there a video with the proposal templates too? You had done another video.
Feel like there's some new additions video wise that I did recently.
Yeah. Bottom line is it's a complete pricing tool. It's a complete pricing tool, and you can bundle it with the contracts, right? So you have your contracts match your pricing model, and you have a pricing tool that helps you do this all within about 15 minutes, right? Super easy. So, all right, everyone, if you don't have contracts, click the link, go take a look at my contracts and see if you're interested. Lesley and I worked really hard on them, and so did David Adler. So they're worth a look if you're struggling with that. And of course, get it with the key, bundle it, and you get $100 off the key. And then you will have your whole pricing model bundled together. Easy breezy. I can't make it any easier for people, but then they actually have to use it, because I have a pet peeve about people buying things they don't use. I'm going to be coming out with some videos about that. Buying templates, buying things, buying courses, and then they never actually use it. So we want you to use it because it's really good. So if you're struggling with your pricing or your contracts, click the link and check it out. All right, Lesley, I'll see you next Thursday.
Sounds good. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.